That was beautiful. Good morning. I'm Patty Goodwin, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this service of the First Universalist Church of Rochester. This morning, we have a special lay-led service for you. Your worship associate team, Dolores DeLamba, Kitty Forbush, Trish Gallagher, Tom Williams, and myself will be leading this service entitled Taking Care of Our World and the People in It. If you are here for the first time this morning, we especially welcome you. Thank you for making it to this worshiping community. Please remain for coffee hour after the service for connection and fellowship. There is a visitor's form that can be found on the back of your order of service or by clicking the link in the chat. Please fill this out so that we can offer you a welcome beyond what we can offer you here on a Sunday morning. If you are looking to be part of our welcoming ministry at First Universalist, please contact MJ Curry to offer to help with coffee hour. Partnering with others is encouraged. Following today's service, we have a special congregational meeting of the membership of First Universalist Church. Please grab some coffee and snacks and come back to the sanctuary for this important meeting about our church ventilation project and exterior improvement and some changes to our bylaws. Before taking a moment to turn to our neighbor, please take a moment to turn towards the camera and greet our online worshiping community. Please offer a wave. If you are online, please pop into the chat to offer a greeting. To our online community, please wait to share joys and sorrows until later in the service so they'll be visible to those here in the sanctuary. If you are here at First Universalist, let us take a moment to turn to our neighbor this morning and offer a greeting. Okay, at this moment, we would like to sing our opening hymn.
Get closer to the mic, because you weren't really loud.
Oh. Our opening hymn is 133, One World. Charlie is going to play it through before we start because we haven't sung this one much.
Some keep the Sabbath going to church, by Emily Dickinson. Some keep the Sabbath going to church. I keep it staying home. With a bobolink for a chorister and an orchard for a dome. Some keep the Sabbath in surplus. Slide, because you might not know what that is. I just wear my wings, and instead of tolling the bell, for church, our little sexton sings. God preaches, a noted clergyman, and the service is never long, so instead of getting to heaven at last, I'm going all along. About interdependence, will you use affirm? We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. It is hard to imagine a bigger antithesis to honoring interdependence than going to war. Yet we humans go to war pretty much every day in any place. With this in mind, the anti-war poet Sarah Teasdale wrote a century ago a poem called There Will Come Soft Rains. After several stanzas praising nature's creatures, she concluded, and not one will know of the war, not one will care at last when it is done, not one would mind, neither bird nor tree, if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone. Indeed, if we kill ourselves off through nuclear war, global warming, pestilence, etc., query, what creature will surely survive? Can you guess it? Cockroaches, you got it. Come, let us worship together. As Greg Axel-Lute comes forward to light our chalice at First Universalist, and you light a chalice in your own homes, please join me in our chalice lighting words, spoken in unison. May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirit, and may we reach out to serve our community.
We have moments in our lives when we feel low and at least a little lost. That is what happened to me in 1992 when I saw my marriage disintegrating. A colleague of mine said, "Patty, go back to church." But where to go? Anna Rhodey and I had bowled together for years, and she invited me here to hear her sing. So I thought, well, maybe go there. We sang, we laughed, we cried each Sunday, and I cried each week for a month. Then I met with the minister. She told me to put all the things from my marriage in a shoebox and store it in the back of my mind. It would always still be a part of me, but I only needed to bring it out when I wanted to. Later, she called to invite me to be part of her sermon writing course, which led me to create my first service. A while after, she created the Worship Associate program. I taught American literature and always was drawn to the writings of Emerson and Thoreau, so I enjoyed writing worship components. These invitations provided opportunities for me to learn. One Sunday, another minister and I entered the lounge for a pledge drive meeting, which Anna Rhodey asked me to. When I saw all the people, the minister said it was the Rochester Flute Association doing an in-kind trade. As I was leaving, I came through the lounge and asked about a flute teacher. That is how I met Annette, who is my teacher and friend to this day. There is so much for which I am grateful. This church has provided so many opportunities for me to learn and continue to grow as a person. That is why I joined this church. That is why I pledged to this church. And that is why I continue to pledge to this church. Come, join me.
Please rise now in body or in spirit for our affirmation of faith. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and fear, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony, the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. It'll come. A reflection titled, I Bid You Remember, by Paul H. Beatty. I bid you remember, first of all, your duty to yourself. Have you sought to fulfill those duties and obligations which you hold to be most important? Have you also been kind enough to yourself so that the good, the true, the beautiful have had a chance to lodge in your soul and there flourish? Have you learned how to give unstintingly of yourself in some good causes? Have you learned to receive, how to accept graciously the bounties of life, and especially the love of friends and family? I bid you remember the earth. We are the children of earth, and that we should not use it ignobly. I bid you remember that it is possible for men and women to feel close to nature, to feel even at home with the whole cosmos, and that you have felt those things and can feel them more clearly and deeply. I bid you remember your fellow humans, the need, the suffering, the starvation which could be eased on this planet, in our daily lives and in political life. Let me say it again. I bid you remember your fellow humans, the need, the suffering, the starvation which could be eased on this planet. In our daily lives and in political life, we must find ways of living with a great ethical responsibility to present and future generations. We give thanks for the human community of history and of the present, which supports each one of us. The inventor, the explorer, the designer, the builder, the factory worker, the bus driver, the author. These and countless others have made our miracle life possible and sustain us from moment to moment. May we also remember those things that are important. Cherish the beautiful and good, seek the truth, and love our fellows. It is here, what we need.
Our theme for today's service is taking care of our world and the people in it. This seems especially fitting for the Sunday of our social justice plate offering. What are we doing when we pass our social justice plate but caring for our world and the people in it? This month's social justice plate offering is designated for the Center for Youth. Located in Midtown Rochester, it was designed to be informed by youth, for youth, and it is a critical source of support for our city's younger generation. Shelter, housing, crisis services are some of the most essential services that the center provides. Another significant part of their programs is called Bridge to Peace. It is a safe place for young people who are disconnected from services and support. The center offers unique programming focusing on peace and justice, restorative practices, and opportunities for engagement. In these critical times of disconnect, it is even more crucial to support our next generation of young adults on their journey to fully engaging members of our community. Please consider donating as generously as you can. Thank you. Please place your offering in the offering basket or give online by scanning the QR code on the back of your order of service. For folks online, please click the link in the chat to give to First Universalist Church. Thank you for your generosity. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received.
Our story today is called Everything is Connected, written by Jason Gruhl and illustrated by Ignacy Font. Now, I will be recommending that the Monroe County Library System add this to their collection because it's excellent. And they didn't have it before, and if the pictures are a little unusual today, it's because I refused to buy the book off Amazon, which is the only way it could get to me on time, so I screenshotted the pictures offline. So, there you go. Oh. Why is that on there? Cool. Sorry, it's doing strange things to me on my phone. Okay. If you could go back to the pink slide. Thank you. Everything is connected. And since you are a part of everything, you are connected to everything. You're connected to a human body, to hands and eyeballs, teeth and toes, elbows, a butt, and even a nose, to a heart and some lungs and a strange-looking stomach, and a brain that's so smart there's no peak it can't summit. But you're not just a body. You're not just a body. You're bigger than that. You're connected to people, to everybody, to siblings, to parents, to cousins, grandparents, to uncles and aunts, and more. You're connected to friends and teachers at school, and even to people you don't think are cool. You're connected to people in Denver and Maine, Paris and Baghdad, and strangers in Spain. You're connected to every human on Earth. Wow. And they're connected to you. You're also connected to hedgehogs, and cats, and dogs, and squirrels, and birds, and rabbits, and cows, and deer by the herds, monkeys, tarantulas, dolphins, and snakes. Friend, you're connected to every big, small, hairy, slimy, snuggly, scaly, floppy, flappy, bristly, buzzy, beautiful creature on Earth. Even blobfish. Blobfish, you say? Surely not that. They don't look like me, talk like me, act like me, and they probably stink. But you see, we're connected. We all play a part. In life, we're the same. We're all blobfish at heart. Now, this next part, though bonkers, is true, I'm afraid. You're connected to everything humans have made. To toys and to playgrounds, to books and to chairs, to gardens and medicine, language and prayers, to buildings and bicycles, buses, balloons, hammers and paintbrushes, tractors and spoons. But also to chickenpox, bullies and lies, to greed and pollution and trash piled high. You're not just connected to things that you like, things that are comfortable, easy, or nice. As human, you're part of the everythingness, and sometimes it's scary and a big, ugly mess. But the good news, my dear, is that you are quite powerful, a force that's in everything, timeless and wowerful. You're even connected to things you can't see, the invisible world, for at least you and me, to cells, DNA, disease, and to death, amoebas and gravity, atoms and breath, to hydrogen, nitrogen, nanobots too. You're connected to them, they're connected to you. You're connected to happy, connected to sad, to the past and the future, and to thoughts that you've had, to pharaohs, Ben Franklin, T-Rex, ancient Greece, to love and to poverty, hunger and peace, to Jesus and Buddha, Muhammad and Moses, spaceships and aliens with noses like hoses. You're connected to all that will be or has been. You're this very moment where all things begin. You're the sun and the moon and the stars, Venus and Jupiter, Neptune and Mars, comets and galaxies, voids and black holes. You are the universe, perfect and whole. Amen. And now, if you will join with me in singing our doxology as we prepare for joys and sorrows.
I invite you into this reverent time of sharing the joys and sorrows of our gathered community. If you would like to, you can place your hand over your heart to be able to listen from this heart-centered place. We know so much is going on in our world today, and if you have sorrows or joys to share on behalf of our national or global community, you are truly encouraged to do so today and into the future. As Kitty Forbush places stones into a bowl, I will read aloud the joys and sorrows of our gathered community. All online are also invited to share your joys and sorrows in the chat. We have 3 joys from MJ Curry. The first, our congregation has received a grant of $2,600 from the New York State Convention of Universalists toward the $8,000 we are asked to donate to the University of Rochester's Rare Books and Special Collections Department for the transfer of our church archives. Jillian Beeman is starting to look for other grant-seeking opportunities for us. Second, more people keep joining the coffee hour hosting team, thanks to all who host and all who donate goodies. Third, she's grateful for the generous and hospitable nature of our sexton Albert, who consistently welcomes our unhoused neighbors into the Susan B. Anthony Lounge and makes sure they get something to eat. He was crucial in caring for a young man who ultimately needed to be helped by the fire department and EMS 3 Sundays ago. Kitty Forbush has a joy. Tomorrow is my beloved son Cooper's 35th birthday. He is well and happy and getting married this summer. Krista Goyer shares a joy. Thanks to everyone who donated to the Family Promise Bowl-a-thon. We raised $900 to shelter families, and our age-diverse team had no gutter balls. Wow, I'm impressed. Our lanes had bumpers. Look, there's the explanation. Jim Milch has a joy. Keith and Jim Milch are celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary. Kathy, I said Keith, Kathy, I can't read, sorry about that. Kathy and Jim Milch, we'll try again, are celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary. That is cool. Marty Eggers has a sorrow. Reach Closet, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this again. Reach is closing its Project Haven shelters due to a lack of funding. Sad. Now we'll see if there are any online. And if I can read them. Wishing, John Lukes. Wishing our member and friend, Karen LaBranco. I also have to see it. Okay, John Lukes, we got that. Wishing our member and friend Karen LaBranco and her family and new neighbors as they are under a tornado watch, last I heard. That is not fun. I grew up in Iowa. I know about that. Susan, somebody? Susan, I'm happy to be home with our friends after about 2 months away. And somebody's iPhone. Mary Kay. What is the title of the book just read? I really like. It's in the order of service. What is it, Michelle? Oh, I think it's Everything is Connected. That must be it for those. Now today we will share in a community ritual to honor the many joys and sorrows we bring into this space, whether read aloud or kept in the silent sanctuaries of our heart. In a moment, those here in person are invited to come forward to drop stones into the bowl. If you need to, remain seated. Please raise your hand, and someone can come to you with a bowl to drop stones in. If you are joining us online, please use your reaction buttons to indicate a heart, and please place a heart into the chat. Let us join in this collective ritual of honoring the joys and sorrows of us all. Anyone want to come forward, drop a stone? may all be held in the heart of love.
Two poems by Mary Oliver. The Uses of Sorrow. In my sleep, I dreamed this poem. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. Heavy. That time I thought I could not go any closer to grief without dying, I went closer, and I did not die. Surely God had his hand in this, as well as friends. Still, I was bent, and my laughter, as the poet said, was nowhere to be found. And then my friend Daniel, brave even among lions, said, "It's not the weight you carry, but how you carry it. Books, bricks, grief. It's all in the way you embrace it, balance it, carry it, when you cannot and would not put it down." So I went practicing. Have you noticed? Have you heard the laughter that comes now and again out of my startled mouth? How I linger to admire the things of this world that are kind and maybe also troubled. Roses in the wind, the sea geese on the steep waves, a love to which there is no reply. In life, we have joys and sorrows. It is easy to see the blessings of the joys, but the sorrows can be difficult to bear. They weigh us down. We drag our feet. They are heavy to carry. But as Mary Oliver says, it is how we carry our sorrows when we cannot put them down that makes the difference. All the joys and sorrows of life are gifts, whether we perceive them as good or bad. All these happenings make up our lives. When we meditate on the events of our days, we can determine where to go from here. What have we learned that we can take into tomorrow? Amen. Blessed be. May it be so. We will now sing the hymn of contemplation, number 1031, May I be filled with loving kindness.
Yeah.
Save the bugs. Bugs are very near the bottom of the food chain, wouldn't you agree? Yet we humans depend upon bugs as a critical part of the interdependent web of life. I invite you to think a little more deeply about bugs, as insects urgently need our help. Bugs can be beautiful. Ironically, for this service, I acquired a work of art made of a fantastic variety of dead insects, sustainably raised, of course, from around the world. They are arranged by color. Aren't they amazing? The fat one in the yellow-orange quadrant with the bright yellow wings is eaten by the people of Madagascar and tastes like bacon. It is being raised to prevent people from eating endangered lemurs, and lemurs eat the bugs too. This blue morpho replica I am wearing is a vibrant blue on the top side, seen in flight, but brown with fake scary eyes on the other side, camouflaging the butterfly while at rest. So smart and so typical of insects. What we must remember is that spraying for mosquitoes and using Roundup and other poisons kills pretty much all bugs, except maybe those tough, yucky cockroaches. The Society for the Protection of Insects, and there is one, has a UU-sounding vision statement. Its vision is for a world where insects are valued and protected for their intrinsic worth and vital contribution to planetary health. And its value statement sounds like us too. We believe that all life, including insects, deserves respect and moral consideration. Our commitment extends to advocating for insects' well-being, resisting their exploitation, and promoting a world where every species is valued and protected. Last year, the New York Times reported that Germany had suffered a dramatic and scary 75% loss in the biomass of flying insects in their protected forests, those which have no pesticide use. This huge loss was over 27 years, ending in 2016, so who knows what it is now. The loss was not understood and not accounted for completely by the usual suspects, climate change and land usage. The loss of billions of songbirds in Europe has also been more widely reported. Probably you have noticed a reduction in birds yourself. For birds and insects, there was a reprieve of a few decades after the publication of Rachel Carson's famous 1962 anti-DDT book, Silent Spring. While there isn't a silent spring yet, it is getting pretty quiet out there. And are you ready for the bad news? Insect populations are down 75% in New York, according to the Audubon Society. And grassland birds and aerial insectivore populations, flying birds that eat bugs, are seriously down. Remember that bobolink in the Emily Dickinson poem? It is a grasslands bird. They used to be common, but I haven't seen one in decades. They're now listed as threatened. I once read the startling proposition that a very effective way to kill a nation would be to kill its insects. That caught my attention. It is estimated that 35% of farming and 1/3 of our food depends on insects for pollination. I expect that estimate is way low. Also, nearly 90% of wild flowering plants rely on insects and other small creatures for pollinations. Most of that pollination is done by a wide variety of bees, plus butterflies, moths, ladybugs, beetles, and other insects. Birds and even my favorite bats do a little pollinating. Wind and self-pollination works for some species. Without pollination, flowering plants would not produce fruits and seeds, food for us and other species, and seeds for new generations of the plants. Putting some of this together, 60% of birds eat insects. With insects disappearing, these birds will die off, and whoever eats those birds or their eggs will have to compete for other food sources. Without seeds created by insect, bird, and bat pollination, many new plants won't grow. And creatures who eat the seeds or the plants themselves will also compete excessively for other food sources, which will also reduce and disappear. Those creatures' numbers will be reduced for lack of food as nature tries to balance itself. As this continues, the effects would just cascade, thus destroying the interdependent web of life, all started by the die-off of insects. If you don't believe insects are disappearing, consider the windshield test. How often do you actually see a bug go splat on your windshield? Rarely, right? Wasn't that splat experience very common decades ago, and even more common for a century ago? Let me get technical for a moment. A birdwatcher friend of mine, Dr. Mark Whiteside, MD, working with a PhD scientist friend of his, has studied the pollution in our air. The two discovered that silicon, aluminum, iron, and other toxic elements like mercury, all of which are found in pollution created by burning coal, fall to Earth virtually everywhere and kill bugs. What may not kill us big people, at least immediately, can and does kill tiny creatures. We have failed to care. Have you ever heard it asked, how many parts per million is lethal to a bug? Soil, water, and insect host foods are immersed in these pollutants, and so the bugs die. Bugs did not evolve with these elements entering their bodies via food and water or landing on their bodies during rain showers. There is even evidence that the polluting element of silicon damages insects' exoskeletons, causing insect death by desiccation. The birdwatcher doctor and his friend published a book about the evidence and even have satellite photos showing that polluting particles from burning coal sometimes appear to be deliberately put in the air via crisscrossing jet chemtrails. The authors think these are efforts by competing governments, or perhaps billionaires, to control the weather and hurt specific nations and states, such as California, through droughts, floods, and pollution. Conspiracy theory? Or the science fiction theme of weather control come true? I do not know, but I worry. Now for some honey. The environmentalists among us are bombarded with info about saving honeybees because they do so much of the pollinating. 5,000 flowers per day for a single bee. Hopefully honeybees will soon be viewed as a poster child for saving all bugs. It is time to stop the poisons, to end the wholesale extermination of insects, whether deliberate or accidental. Each of us can plant native species to support bugs, and we can rescue the individual bugs that we find inside our houses by taking them outside. Planting native species and leaving a corner of your yard just to nature is done in Ireland, and they call it saving land for the fairies. We can fight invasive species like white mustard weed. We can wait till the end of May to mow our lawns. They get ugly, but you can wait. And we cannot rake leaves until spring is really here, with at least 3 days in a row of over 55 degrees and no more snow anticipated. That lets bug insects and chrysalises hatch. We can donate to the Society for the Protection of Insects and other environmental not-for-profits. Do it all if you can. There is no time to waste. Let us collectively save natural ecosystems and reduce development and agricultural land usage, all the while remembering our human lives and those of our descendants forever depend on insects thriving. This brings me back to those creepy cockroaches. Forget about the meek inheriting the earth, as the Bible says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 5. Current events indicate cockroaches will inherit the earth because cockroaches are designed for survival. They can eat almost anything. They already thrive, get this, in every climate and ecosystem, frozen to tropical. They survived the nuclear bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. There are, how many identified cockroach species would you guess? 5,000 identified cockroach species and counting, only 6 of which we humans ever encounter. These cockroach facts compare extremely favorably to our one fragile species of Homo sapiens. Given climate change, war, pestilence, species collapse, and extinctions, we appear to be racing toward not a planet of the apes, but a planet of the cockroaches. So let us proclaim, save the bugs. Here's the original.
Not a pleasant picture. We ignore things that are essential to our life, and we ignore and abuse the earth. Vern Barnett has written a Pledge of Allegiance to the earth, which we might well want to follow. It is this: I pledge allegiance to the earth and all life, the fields and the streams, the mountains and seas, the forests and deserts, the air and soil, all species and reserves, habitats and environments, one world, one creation, our home, indivisible for all, affected by pollution anywhere, depleted by any waste, endangered by greedy consumption, degradation by faithlessness, preserved by recycling, conservation, and reverence, the great gift renewed for all generations to come. Protected, preserved by reducing, reusing, recycling, with conservation and reverence, the great gift renewed for all generations to come.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Good morning, dear church family. In the past few months, I've had the words of two amazing women, coincidentally women of faith, inspire me deeply and somehow give me hope. The first are words from Bishop Marianne Edgar Buddy from the sermon she delivered at the National Prayer Service at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. She said a lot of things, but this really struck me. Unity is the threshold requirement for people to live together in a free society. It is not conformity. It is not a victory of one over another. It is not weary politeness, nor passivity born of exhaustion. Unity is not partisan. Rather, unity is a way of being with one another that encompasses and respects differences, that teaches us to hold multiple perspectives and life experiences as valid and worthy of respect, that enables us in our communities and in the halls of power to genuinely care for each other, even when we disagree. These words so connected me to First Universalist and to what we have here as a community. I know Reverend Buddy was pleading with a particular individual who is in attendance at the service, whose name shall not be mentioned, but I know that I don't have to plead with any of you. This church is so much more than a spiritual sanctuary. It is a place where we are held up by a community that shares certain principles, a prescription for right living, if you will. Next are thoughts from Sister Joan Chittister, an 82-year-old Catholic nun who has written more than 50 books, her latest entitled, "The Time Is Now, A Call to Uncommon Courage," which is described as a treatise on spirituality and action, which is practical and powerful activism for our times. Just an FYI, there's a great interview with her by Oprah on Oprah's YouTube broadcast called Super Soul Sunday. From Joan. These are not quotes from her new book, which is almost impossible to obtain right now, being sold out already. So I've not read her book, but after watching the Oprah interview, I found her to be a vivacious and vibrant and a fierce moral advocate. From her, it is in community that we come to see our own emptiness filled up. It is community that calls me beyond the pinched horizons of my own life, my own country, my own race, my own gender, I added that, and gives me the gifts I do not have within me. And here's another. Only ideas keep ideas flowing. When we close our minds to what is new, simply because we decide not to bother with it, we close our minds to our responsibility, to ourselves, and to others to keep growing. And this is one of my favorite quotes, for I truly believe it is what we practice and why we practice it here at First Universalist. Hospitality means we take people into the space that is our lives and our minds and our hearts and our work and our efforts. Hospitality is the way we come out of ourselves. It is the first step towards dismantling the barriers of the world. Hospitality is the way we turn the prejudiced world around, one heart at a time. I know that this congregation has the strength and courage to honor the dignity of all people, to speak the truth in love, and walk humbly with one another for the good of all people. And this is how we care for each other. And now I want to sing a song for you. It's a version of a song you all know very well, and I'm going to sing it through for you. And then, if you care to, I invite you to sing it again with me. The words are up on the screen, and I know you all know the tune. How sorrowful when human rights are met with such disdain, when mercy is the laughing stock while power is the gain. America, America, you've lost humanity. Resentment for the weak and poor will be your undoing. How sorrowful when hatred holds the gavel and the scales. How beautiful for humankind when selfless love prevails. America, America, abandon hate and greed. There's so much more worth living for. It starts with you and me. Sing now. How sorrowful when human rights are met with such disdain, when mercy is the laughing stock while power is the gain. scales. How beautiful for humankind when selfless love prevails. America, America, abandon hate and greed. There's so much more worth living for that starts with you and me. So be it, everybody, truly. And now if we would rise in body or spirit to sing our final hymn, which is number 1068, Rising Green.
Please remain standing as Kitty extinguishes our chalice flame this morning. Let us read together the words printed on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together this morning. As we close our service this morning, I invite you to place a hand over your heart. If you are joining us online, I invite you to turn your settings to gallery view and look upon the faces of those here with you. For those of us in the room, take a moment to look around at those here with you.
Deep peace of the wave, of the running wave to you.
Deep peace of the flowing air to you.
Deep peace of the quiet earth to you.
Deep peace of the shining stars to you.
Deep peace of the infinite peace to you, adapted from Gaelic runes. Everyone is invited to join for the Ministry of Coffee Hour activities in the Clara Barton Lounge immediately after the service. Also, please remember the congregational meeting following the service. Grab coffee and come back for important information.
Let me just say real quick, right after the service, if our visitors will just bear with us, we're going to count our quorum, then you can go and have coffee hour for a few minutes and then come back for the business meeting. But it'll just take a moment for us to count.
This is in honor of our Irish brothers and sisters. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are called from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you, must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when ye come and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I shall hear the soft you tread above me, and all my grave will warm sweeter be, and you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until